As Sujata mentioned, I'm the Solutions Marketing Manager for Intel Select Solutions for the network. And I'm a marketing person. Why am I talking to a technical audience? Well, I'm technical very much. And I have been a developer for a major part of my career. And I think the key technical decisions that we try to influence, that is where so we are trying to spread the word for Intel Select Solutions through all possible channels. And technical team is also a major stakeholder in influencing some of the management or executive decisions. And that's why this session today is what I requested Sujata for. I just wanted to take a quick poll from everybody. Has anyone heard of Intel Select Solutions before? Okay, 2 people. Can you explain your background? Can you please tell me your background, please? Okay. Okay, good. Glad to know. And the person behind? Okay, good. All right. Okay, so let's begin. We'll go quickly through the problem statement and then I'll show you a quick snapshot. It's a very easy thing to understand what Intel Select Solutions are. So let's begin with setting the context and then moving on to the problem statement. So we know this is a standard slide which shows up. Basically, we know that as billions of devices start connecting with each other, data is going to explode and there are requirements for new business models, use models, higher capacity, greater bandwidth, and lower latency. And that's why network transformation to 5G becomes key. And we know that our comm service provider customers, they're already moving in that direction as they replace their fixed function, purpose-built devices with network transformation technologies. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. With network transformation technologies like NFVI and SDN, and that helps them to build like powerful networks which span from the core to the access to the edge. So we know that Intel also has products in every aspect of the 5G value chain, and it works in a very collaborative fashion with the industry standard groups, the ecosystem partners, to lead the development of capabilities, be it standards, intelligence, or networking components. And Intel Select Solutions for the network are an enabler for this overall 5G strategy, where they leverage all the expertise which we gather through this collaboration activity. They help accelerate the network transformation journey. Currently, we have 3 Intel Select Solutions for the network selling in the market: NFVI, UCP, and Visual Cloud Delivery Network. We'll talk about this in more detail as we understand the concept behind Intel Select Solutions. So far so good, all simple and easy to digest. So now let's get into the actual problem statement. We know that our comm service providers in the network transformation journey want to bring in flexibility, agility, and drive scale, but that can get really challenging with the complexity and interoperability that is involved in provisioning various networking workloads and edge service and various services, networking services. It's a balancing act which they do between achieving the objectives and the advantages for bringing in the network transformation. And Intel Select Solutions for the network is intended to actually solve this problem statement to make their life simple. We provide you consistent building blocks which give you proven deterministic performance so that you are sorted at that layer and then you can focus on innovating on the upper layers. We'll get into the details about what it is. So if this problem statement is clear, we can just move on further to the actual specifics of what the solution is actually all about. So every Intel Select solution is targeted to a specific workload. Intel Select Solutions provide you recipes which include ingredients and a methodology targeted to a specific workload. We work closely with the independent software vendors or operating system vendors to ensure system level optimization, right from the hardware to the firmware to the software and the higher layers, if we go up till there, to give you that consistent performance that is required for that workload. So it is an optimized configuration. Now this happens through a continuous regression process, which is known as a validation process at Intel, which gives you the best known configuration, which we call it as a BKC for people who are aware of it. And every Intel Select solution typically comes in two flavors: a base configuration, which is optimized for price performance trade-off, and a plus configuration, which is meant for extreme performance. Some of the reference designs will also come with a controller configuration to take care of a multi-node clustered configuration requirement that the customers look for. This, okay. Okay, is this better? Okay. Okay, so moving on, like what the BKC process actually looks like. Typically, a best known configuration comes by running regression testing, by incorporating more and more use cases from the comm service providers and newer workloads, and testing if it works in different permutations, combinations. And it is a continuous rigorous exercise which leads to a sweet spot configuration which can really help you drive scale. So this is the basis on the or the foundational. Yeah, this is the foundational aspect on the basis of, the foundation of the Intel Select solution configuration. The benefits of, or the value props of Intel Select solution are very simple. It gives you a range of, so simplified evaluation means we give you a range of solutions from different OEMs who verify for that select configuration by adhering to the reference design and meeting and exceeding those benchmarks. So you get a simplified evaluation platform from the various OEM partners. It is very fast and easy to deploy because the basic building blocks are taken care of and you just focus on the higher layers. And then it is workload optimized. So for us right now, I'll talk about each of the select solutions. What is the workload that each select solution targets? For NFVI, it is the NFVI OS layer. For UCP, it is again the NFVI OS layer, but targeted to a SD-WAN workload. And for Visual Cloud, we optimized it for content delivery networking workload. So you get a pre-configured, pre-validated configuration, which you can just deploy and just quickly go to market with the provisioning of newer workload or services that are required. Okay, is it all good so far? Any questions? The previous one? Okay. So any questions other than that, other than my voice quality? Okay, so select solutions for NFVI, they offer consistent building blocks that target the NFVI workloads like virtual EPC, virtual IMS, virtual BNG, and so on. It comes in a dual socket NUMA balanced configuration with Xeon scalable processors and Intel Quick Assist technology as the hero features. And also it has Apache Pass as an optional feature. So it helps you address those workloads, NFVI workloads, with higher subscriber count or higher bandwidth and all those requirements which actually constitute the core part of the network. It comes in 3 flavors. We currently support it with Ubuntu, Red Hat, and Fusion Sphere, and newer flavors are expected in future. Now, we started this Intel Select solution program 2 years ago approximately. We started with a Gen 1 Select solution, which was based on the first generation of Xeon scalable processors. Recently, in April, we launched the second generation of the same NFVI Select solution, which comes in a cloud and a controller node configuration, and it comes with the second generation Xeon scalable processors with a Red Hat OpenStack configuration. We did an announcement at the Berlin event, the network virtualization and SDN Europe, where one of our partners, Advantech, got verified on Intel Select solution for NFVI Gen 2, and they're already selling in the market. And we did a very wonderful demo with Fortinet onboarded on top of it, and we could see a performance realization of around 3.5 times with Intel Quick Assist technology, where we offloaded the compression and the crypto workloads. So this is the general snapshot of how a second generation Intel Select solution for NFVI looks like at the hardware BOM layer. You can see we have a controller node configuration and a cloud node configuration. As I mentioned, there is a base configuration and there is a plus configuration. One is for price performance trade-off, and the other one is for extreme performance, and a controller node. So what the OEMs have to do is they build the reference design using the spec. They certify for both. Certification is not the right word. Verify with a controller plus base cloud node, or a controller plus a plus cloud node, and and try to meet those benchmarks which we specify. I'll talk about the benchmarks in the upcoming slide. And if they exceed that, we give them the Intel Select logo brand, because then they come with the promise that they will definitely deliver that much performance with this recipe followed. So you can see we have networking SKUs used here. The networking SKUs come with some good features like Intel Speed Select, priority-based frequency, which can be leveraged for many of our NFV workloads. The memory and the QAD requirements and the storage requirements that typically are required for an NFVI type workload, which we just mentioned in the previous slide. Moving on, this is the software stack optimized for Ubuntu and Red Hat. And we also mentioned the BIOS and other technology enabling, disabling settings. And then we move on to the key benchmarking requirements here. You can see that we have some QAD benchmarks for base and the plus configuration. We have L3 forwarding requirements, so these are the benchmarks. We give the OEMs the scripts once they build the solution stack with the hardware, firmware, software, and the software stack, which we recommended in the previous slide. We give them the scripts to run through and publish these benchmarks. Once they meet or exceed based on whether it is a base configuration that they have opted for or a plus configuration that they have opted for, we endorse them that the configuration is definitely going to provide the consistent building blocks for the comm service providers, at least at these KPI level benchmarks. Similarly, UCPE Select solution is a solution which is targeted for UCP workloads, especially SD-WAN and various edge services. It is a single socket Xeon D configuration, including the Intel Quick Assist technology, and again targeted towards UCP workloads. It comes in two flavors, ADWA Ensemble connector and Ubuntu. Has anybody heard of ADWA Ensemble connector? Yeah, so it's a very promising OSV, I would say. They provide you those consistent building blocks, essentially derived from CentOS, and it's a proprietary OS which supports some very interesting features. We announced this Intel Select solution with ADWA Ensemble connector at the Big 5G event in the first week of May, and we tried to demonstrate. We did an announcement with Supermicro's Select solution for UCP with ADWA. They are also selling for Ubuntu, and we demonstrated a zero-touch provisioning feature for onboard, which seamlessly onboards VNFs. We onboarded VeloCloud and Fortinet VNFs and just demonstrated how switching to Select solutions can really help influence the go-to-market or accelerate the go-to-market cycle for some of your workloads. Again, getting onto the solution stack, the BOM, you can see the Xeon D configuration, along with the RAM, the Quick Assist, and the storage requirements. And then moving on to the next slide, these are some of the throughput and the QAD benchmarks that we try to achieve, which the OEMs have to certify for. And finally, the Visual Cloud Delivery Network Select solution. It's derived from the Select solution for NFVI. Again, it is a dual socket NUMA balanced configuration with quick assist, then Intel Optane DC persistent memory, as well as the Visual Compute Accelerator card, which helps address the CDN needs to be more agile and open and cloud-like. So this is directly meant for content delivery networking workloads, and it really leverages the Intel Optane DC persistent memory to achieve that CDN performance that the comm service provider customers are looking for. They are BOM. I'm not sure whether you all are able to see it clearly. Okay. So it shows the various configurations that are to be, which the OEMs can align to at the hardware layer. The key takeaway here is the Intel Optane DC persistent memory, which has a strong value prop here for this solution because it operates in the caching mode and helps enhance the content delivery network performance. And then the solution stack, it's available in Red Hat and CentOS flavors. You can see that various libraries that constitute its solution stack, and then the benchmarks for media streaming, which are an added benchmark over and above the NFVI benchmark. So you can see some transcoding performances of 12 streams and 16 streams that are achieved with base and plus configuration. So I think that is pretty much what I wanted to cover for the Select solution. And the last question that you might have, like, where do we as developers or as technical staff consider using Intel Select solutions? So whenever you want to revisit, whenever you want to respond to an RFP, typically any RFP can be addressed with any one of the Select solution configs. At least you can get the thought process in that direction. You may want to tweak the ingredients, but it will give you the right direction or the focus to go ahead with. And then there are papers like white paper solution briefs, which are on Intel Network Builder's website, which can tell you for different VNFs, what is the benchmark that you can achieve with a particular configuration, which can be used as a baseline to help right-size your comm service provider infrastructure requirements with respect to the service level agreement requirements that they are trying to achieve. I wouldn't say that using the Select solution as it is for any RFP will work. Of course, you have to understand the SLA requirements, and you have to understand what the comm service providers are looking for, which workloads they want to provision, but at least you can get a jump start, and maybe in some cases you can use the config as it is. We've tried resonating this idea with various comm service providers, and they are seeing interest they're seeing interest and they're seeing value in, like jump starting with an optimized configuration, especially the ones who have very limited resources to build, like the entire service. They would rather go to one vendor and get everything ready by that vendor. So this also gives them a jump start to address comm service provider requirements. I think with that, I would just say that in summary, Intel Select solutions provide you recipes for building standard servers that provide deterministic performance for real network workloads through tested configurations of leading system and software components. And for any other information, you can reach out to me, or there is a lot of information that is available on the Intel Network Builder's website. Any questions? What is the minimum? There is, so are you an OEM partner, or I'm not sure where you're getting this. What is your background? What gives you rise to this question? You can, there is no minimum order requirement. Yeah. So you can assemble this as an OEM, just pick up CPU, NICs, chipsets, everything, and just assemble it, and you're ready to go. So if you want to certify or verify for an Intel Select solution, all you have to do is just follow the reference design. Yeah.
Can you go back to the page of video transcoding, please? Do you have anything on VP9?
Sorry?
VP9.
VP9.
Yeah. Google VP9, AV1. That's pretty much Twitch is using right now, is VP9.
I cannot really.
I mean, Twitch is using a VP9. So I don't see any VP9 benchmark over there.
Okay, so you're saying that that benchmark needs to be also be considered?
Yeah, because that's the popular one.
Okay, okay. So we are actually looking for inputs from the market to enhance it further. So please feel free to shoot out a mail to me, and I can always check with the technical team to see how this can be incorporated.
They're using our FPGA company that you're not
Okay.
associated with.
Okay. They're using FPGAs?
Using
Okay.
FPGA. Can you go to page 10? Page 10.
Page 10, okay. That's good that you actually noted down the page numbers.
The font is really big.
Okay.
I got a question. I got a little bit confused because at the cloud and cloud plus note that you want to have 120 gig of obtained memory.
Mm-hmm.
And other than CDN network, do you need it?
So this whole configuration comes with required and recommended components. In this case, Optane DC persistent memory is not required, it's optional. However, you may want to implement a virtual CDN, that's why we brought in the Optane DC persistent memory, but you are free to skip it for workloads like VPC or whatever, which don't require this at all.
Yeah, because typically on the video CDN boxes, they
Yeah.
do have a lot of flash drive over there.
Yes.
And they don't wear out that much because it's only read.
Mm-hmm.
120 gig for video caching for CDN is too tiny.
Yeah.
It's only fit a couple of movies.
So basically, so when you have a CDN need, you can look at this configuration, and then you can look at the extended actual visual cloud delivery network configuration to see which one is a close match for your requirements. And you can go with a smaller config, you can go for a bigger config. You can use Visual Compute Accelerator card to further enhance transcoding functionality. So it depends, again, upon what your comm service provider or your customer is looking for.
Last one. I do understand that your server chipset don't have a PCI bridge switching fabric.
Mm-hmm.
Is that down the road be the case? Because when you switch on it, it's more trouble and problematic because you don't have to go to CPU core, you have a fabric.
Sorry, I didn't get a question.
PCI switch fabric.
PCI switch fabric. I wouldn't be able to answer that.
The other company have it.
Okay, we don't. Yeah, okay, thanks. Okay, any other questions?
Check. Okay. I try to understand your select solution. So the things like, in one slide you mentioned about the challenge the CSP may face when having so many disaggregated open projects when they want to use. Well, when I look at the select solution and based on my previous understanding and then also yours, it seems this one still focusing on like a specific components, like this one, NFVI for hardware part, instead of all kind of like cloud OS, like something that going to be deployed on the infrastructure side. Well, the other slide you mentioned about the UCPE still on the component part, and more like a CD and those type of things. I wonder like how does Intel, just my try to guess. I thought the Intel Select solution want to give some, Intel want to play like a system integrated role in order to solve the CSP challenge when having so many disaggregated and open projects. So I do not say that things, but maybe you can you elaborate something on that part?
Okay, so you asked a lot of things. Let me repeat what I understood and try to split it into different questions. So first you said there are a lot of open source community projects which are going on. How is Intel Select Solution leveraging that? Is that your first part of it?
Yes, sort of like that, yes.
Okay, so it's a very good question. I really appreciate that. So our select configurations right now, so as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, our select configurations are meant to drive scale, and they look at the sweet spot that is being asked by the market and help them move to network transformation to 5G like really quickly. Now, we collaborate with various ecosystem partners and industry standard groups in leading the development of various capabilities, and we try to adopt some of the best practices. Like for example, there have been requirements, why don't you move it up to the higher layers, like say orchestration, nano layers, like we would like to include ONAP. So we are considering that as a possibility for future, because this is not the end of it. Once a solution is built, doesn't mean that it stops there. It is like a small product. We try to enhance it with new features. So if we see traction that ONAP is picking up, and that is something which all our partners are asking for, we try to bring in. Similarly, like there are people who are asking for Ceph service for storage, or OpenStack Cinder or Swift. We have taken all those points into consideration and want to bring it into the solution stack, but we'll go in a step-by-step fashion depending upon how many requirements and how fast can we go, and does it affect the performance, and then we have to see our future roadmap of new processors and other ingredients that come up, and how we can leverage those to the best ability to give you something which can really help you meet some of your SLAs as well as help you drive scale. I hope I addressed that pretty well. Okay. Any other question? Okay, I'm done. What's the time? Did I finish it in my allotted time? Well, it's good that this is the first time I'm presenting to a technical team, and it is actually the second time, but it's good to see the kind of questions that you're asking. I never expected so many questions, but really focused ones, and we also look forward for your inputs to see how we can make the stack better. Like I think there was a PCI switch enhancement request, and then there was a request for including additional benchmarks for Visual Cloud KPIs. All well taken. If you could detail out and put a mail to me, and I can take it with a relevant technical expert and see if that is a possibility to include in our solution stack. Thank you, everybody. That's it.